Hi everyone, in this video let's have a look at the module Form Builders. I'm going to log in as an admin, and once I've logged in I can go to the menu, I can go to collaborations and find the module Forms. Inside the module Forms, the first thing that we can see is create a form template. I can create a template by going for this option. So I can choose the field that I want in my form. It could be any type of a form, a normal form or a survey form or a feedback form. So these forms could be created using any of these type of fields. So we're going to customize the form by choosing the right field and the content based on how we want. So as you can see the field names listed here, all that we need to do is select one, drag and drop it here. So this is the blank form, and once we drag and drop it, you can see as per the option I chose, the field gets created here. And what I need to do is select the field. Now it's untitled. I need to give a title and a description and make it mandatory if it is required. If this field needs to be mandatorily filled in, you can enable this as mandatory and provide the name or label for the field. And a description if required. Now going back to the fields, I need to select one more field. So I can select, let's say, attachment. I'm going to drag and drop it here. So once I do that, you can see that field is also created, where I need to once again provide the settings. Change the label for the field. So I'm going to provide a label here. And a description if required, and make it mandatory if required. And you can keep adding fields like these, where you have the option for a radio button, a paragraph, drop down, horizontal line and a checkbox. Now once this is done, you're going to give a name for your form. And save the template. So this template could be utilized for creating one more form. So this is how it would look like. Now going back to forms, when you go for form template, you get to see a list of template that has already been created. Now you can directly access them, use them, edit them, and in case if they are on use, you can deactivate them. So this is the one that I created. If I want to view, I can select it, view the information, edit it right here, or go back and go for use. Now when I go for the option use, the form is asking me what name do I want to provide. So this is going to be the name that could be viewed by all the users who are going to be a part of the form. So let me provide a name. And I can enable if it's a feedback form. So any form that is going to be created as a feedback form, the step that you need to do is enable as a feedback form. And now this form can have two types of visibility. Either it could be public or private. If it's public, it could be viewed by all the users. If it's private, then by default we will have to have an option to choose the department employees and the students belonging to the batch. So as you see, there are recipients. So now you're going to choose who are going to view this form. So I can select employees now. So now once that is done, I can go to this batch option where I'm going to select the student, select the name of the student. Once this is done, you can select the option to include only students or parents or both of them. So a form could also be visible for these users, let's say parent. Now you can give the access for the parent so that the student's form could be viewable for them as well. So you or both. And the last option that you have is the user preference. User preference gives you the two options, which is editable and multiple submit. A user can prefer to make multiple submit or edit the answer that is provided. So either of these options could also be given, and you can publish the form that was created. So this is the form that was created. If I'm going to select the report, I can view the list of responses that I'm getting for the form. For now, it's going to be empty since I have not logged in as a user and entered the details in this form. So now I'm going to go and search for a particular student or an employee who are part of this form. So let me log in as the student. So this is going to be the admission number of the student. So I'm going to log in, enter the password. Once that's done, I'm going to menu, going to collaborations, and I have the module forms. So when I go for the forms, I get to see the form that was assigned. So on selecting it, I can answer the form. So I can answer for my students. I can make, let's say as an employee, I want to make an entry for 20 students who belong to my class for the same sheet. So if the admin has created multiple submit, I can directly do it. If it's going to be only once, then the employee might not be able to do. The one option that you give for the student would be the same. If they need to only make only single information, they need to enter and provide only a single entry. Whereas the employees have the option to make multiple entries as well. So for now, I'm going to make an entry and choose a file. So that's going to choose a file from my browser. And once that's done, I can open and submit. So this means I've made my entry as an employee for one of my students. And now you can view your own responses. As you can see here, you can see where they can download the file right from here. Now I'm going to log in as the admin once again to view the same. Once I've logged in, I'm going for the menu, I'm going for collaborations, form, and when I go for the manage forms, and you can see the form that I created, I can select it. You can see this is the report. This is the report that I've got. You can see the name of the student. You can see the file that has been attached, where you can select and download the file as well. Now you can see the fields. Let's say the field is name of the student, where name of the student, you can filter it on the basis of matching any words or exactly a particular phrase. So let's say you have around 100 to 200 entries made here. You might want to filter them on any basis, so you can provide these information and filter. Or in case if you want to export as a CSV sheet and utilize the sheet later, that could also be done. Going back to the forms, we have seen how a form could be used. And coming back to manage form allows the users to close, edit, delete and reopen a particular form. So this form is on use right now. I can close this form by going for close option. Whereas an admin, I can close it right here. Once again, I can reopen it by going for reopen. So once again, it's going to be open for all the users to make an entry. Going back to forms, the next thing that we have is forms option. Here again, we get to see the forms that we have created. So on selecting each of these forms, once again, you get to see the entries that you have made. Now, this is nothing but the form that was created for the admin as well. This was created by an employee or some other person who has the privilege, and admin was also part of this form. So I can see my own submissions, I can see the responses that I have given before, and I can select. So I have only the option to view my information, whereas I don't have the option to view the other employees' information because this form was not created by me. Going back to form, the final one that we have is feedback forms. A feedback form that was created and handled could be viewed here. You can go for form template, and in case if there is any feedback form that was created, you can use it. You can give a name for your feedback form and enable this as to be a feedback form. So this feedback is for selected people. Then if I'm enabling it, I need to select who are the people I'm creating this feedback for. Now I've given the form name. I've selected this to be a feedback form. Now I'm going to select a feedback for selected people. So I'm going to select who are the people and who are the recipients. So I'm selecting the department and I'm selecting the student. I'm selecting the recipients. And I can select, is it for parents, is it for students, or is it for both. So these are the options that I need to provide. I have selected the recipients, I've selected the people. All these members are associated. Now I can publish it. Now once the feedback form is published, you can see the question. Once you go for the report, just like a normal form, you can see the entries and the responses through the report. Now the same way like how a normal form is, the members can log in into the instant, go for the feedbacks and respond to the feedback, and the same could be viewed. I'm going to search for a particular user for whom I have created this feedback form. So I'm going to log in as this employee. So this employee has got the feedback form. I'm going to log in as this employee, and once I've logged in, I can go to menu, collaborations, and directly go for the forms. So here I have the feedback form, and here you can see the feedback that I created. On selecting it, I have not made any submission, so you can see the target employee name. So I can see the presentation skills being a question where I can select one, and I can see the communication skills being another question where I can select one and submit. Now I've provided a response which I can view it myself, where if I'm logging in as an admin, the admin is going to view the same. Now I can go to menu, I can go to collaborations, I can go to forms. So now when you look at the entries that is being made, you can see the consolidated report, you can make an analysis, and you can take a CSV report out of it. So if you see, if you're going for an analysis, it's going to give the comparison for each of these users. So each of these target users, you can see the comparison. You can see what was the response provided and what was the maximum response, and it can show the highlights as well. And moving back, when you're saying for a consolidated report, you can see for each employee, each targets, what was the response that was given. So if I had given a response for each of these targets, you can see the responses, and you can view the consolidated report that is based on the feedback by all the users. So this is how a form could be created, could be shared with various other users, and we can take in the response and generate reports based on these response. And Form Builder supports these options. That's all about Form Builder module. Thanks for listening.